Mr. Macaroni, also known as Freaky Freaky Daddy, a father figure in the society and Daddywa, has used the social media platforms over the years to provide comedic relief to millions of his followers. Using comic satires to mirror the current socio-political realities in Nigeria, the multi-talented actor, scriptwriter, producer, comedian, activist, theatre practitioner, and performer has come a very long way from his days of humble beginnings of begging for roles in movies to becoming one of the most celebrated and recognized social media influencers in Nigeria today. One can truly say that Mr. Macaroni is doing well for himself. What best do you know Mr. Macaroni for? Let me know down in the comment section below. Welcome to DROPIT Media. If this is your first time here and you're yet to subscribe, please I appreciate you go click on the red subscribe button. When you're done with that, you can also turn on the bell notification and set it to all so you'll be the first to get updated each time we drop our videos. And also like and share our videos on all social media platforms. Without further ado, let us get started. Mr. Macaroni, also popularly known as Daddywa, in his online comedy skits was named Debo Adeboye at birth. He was born on the 3rd of May 1993 in Lagos State, Nigeria. Born to a journalist father and an educationist mother. He grew up with 9 siblings, 6 girls and 3 boys in the household. Being the second to the last child in the family, he was and remains a mommy's boy and was pampered by his mother. He grew up in a God-fearing home where love for one another and respect for others was inculcated into them right from very tender ages of their lives. Mr. Macaroni's origin in comedy can be traced back to his teenage years when he would mimic one of the most charismatic preachers in Nigeria, Pastor Chris Oyakilome. He grew up watching the man preach and fell in love with his personality. Young Macaroni would imitate the pastor's phonetics, unique hand gestures, movements, and burst out in boisterous singing, just like the man he admires. His play acting as a kid led to his career in comedy and then theatre arts, all of which have contributed significantly to Mr. Macaroni's net worth over the years. Ironically, Mr. Macaroni's early works did not instantly become a sensation. Initially, he had just a couple of thousands of views on his comedic skits. Sometime in 2018, he made a comedy skit with popular Nigerian comedian Feyisayo Oluokun titled Freaky Meat Spicy, and this, he said, was one skit that immediately increased his followership drastically. Secondly, he stated that popular social media influencer Tunde Ednut took interest in his style of comedy and posted several of his skits on his social media handles while asking his followers to follow Mr. Macaroni as well. These 2 events are what he believes really brought him to prominence and widened his followership and also indirectly increased Mr. Macaroni's net worth. Mr. Macaroni has said on several occasions that he sees himself first as an actor and performer before he becomes a comedian. Moreover, his passion for acting has definitely contributed significantly to Mr. Macaroni's net worth. As regards his acting career, he has featured in movies and television programs such as Mistress, Royal Outlaw, Face to Face, House 31, Super Story, and Jennifer's Diary. He has also been seen using the social media platforms to promote the most recent film he featured in called Ayenla. The belief of most people in the entertainment industry is that no form of publicity is bad as long as it brings visibility. Aside from his funny online skits, most people would never have heard about Mr. Macaroni today if not for his involvement in several activism projects, which has further projected him to limelight, increasing his net worth. It would be unfair to Debo Adeboye or Mr. Macaroni, as whichever you choose to call him, as he is fondly called if we assume that he went into activism for popularity. Well, as we have stated that he had a considerable level of following before he became involved in activism. Moreover, from his teenage years to date, he has always had it in him to be the voice of the voiceless, and he is an individual who detests intimidation of any kind. While in college, he really wanted to make sure that all his fellow students were doing well, So he contested for the post of Student Union President and he was elected unanimously. He thereafter used his position to fight for different causes, making the institution a better place for all. Years after graduation from the university, and as he began to gain popularity on social media, he always used the opportunity to speak truth to power against unwholesome policies by the government, influential peoples in the society, and corruption. Telling the authorities the wholesome truth sometimes comes with negative consequences, and Debo has paid for his outspoken nature in different ways. Some of his roles in addressing the German issues facing Nigerian youths have landed him in big trouble. You can agree with me in the comment section below. You can also state which of these trouble he has landed in. We all are witnesses to this. You can't lie. So Mr. Macaroni's net worth is put between $117,000 to $300,000. And since he's well known for his comedy skits on YouTube and other social media handles, it is safe to assume that the bulk of his network comes from his online skits. Aside from making people happy, Mr. Macaroni also uses these comedy videos to promote several brands. He does adverts and commercials for corporate bodies and brands, and these promotions would definitely have fetched him a lot of money as well. Another way that Mr. Macaroni makes money is from being a content writer. As a content creator himself, he also writes for other comedians involved in his line of work, and these efforts would also fetch him some form of royalty and extra codes for his creative exploits. It is also worth mentioning that he is first and foremost an actor and has featured in quite a number of Nollywood movies, which would definitely have fetched him some significant income as well. Mr. Macaroni's versatility is well admired. Mr. Macaroni rose to global fame for his unique blend of comedy shared via different social media platforms. Naturally, this is his fourth, where he has excelled brilliantly for about 7 years now. He began his social media comedy as a retired school teacher in the early days of 2014, before gradually evolving into the father figure, aka Mr. Freaky Daddy or Daddy Wa, that he is today. Now let us quickly take a look at Mr. Macaroni's involvement in EndSARS movement in Nigeria. When the Special Anti-Robbery Squad unit of the Nigerian police, also known as SARS, decided to abandon its core duties of nipping robbery crimes in the bud, but rather choosing to exploit, kidnap, extort and threaten the lives of young Nigerians, all under the guise of apprehending suspected scammers. Debo was one of the few Nigerian celebrities who willingly chose to lend his voice to the cry of the Nigerian youth against the rogue SARS unit of the police. He used his platform to call the government's attention to the excess of those police units. Unfortunately, the government turned deaf ears to the cry of the youths, which unfortunately led to the peaceful nationwide #EndSARS protest of September 2020. Mr. Debo spoke truth to power during the time of the protest, sharing his own personal experience with these notorious police units, as well as amplifying the voice of others who had gone through very terrible experiences with the SARS units. People would never take him seriously due to comic videos, which he began to take note of him and pay attention. Another event that has further endeared Mr. Macaroni to many Nigerian youths and increased his fame was his involvement and later arrest alongst other protesters at the Lekki Toll Plaza after the unfortunate incident that happened at the venue of the Lekki Toll Gate protest on October 20, 2020, when some Nigerian soldiers were sent to the protest ground to shoot at unarmed flag-wielding protesters. Well, this action sparked nationwide violent protests and unnecessary destruction of properties. Early in February 2021, when the judicial panel granted the operators of the Lekki Toll Plaza the leave to repair it, a lot of Nigerians frowned at the idea and planned to stage a protest at the plaza, which has been stained by the blood of innocent civilians. On February 12th, when some protesters were arrested in the vicinity of the Lekki Toll Plaza, Mr. Macaroni decided to present himself at the venue to show solidarity. He was subsequently arrested by the Nigerian police for committing no crime other than exercising his fundamental rights alongside other protesters. Mr. Macaroni was beaten and senselessly dehumanized by the authorities. But he was released a day after, when the clamor for his release and other protesters reached the high heavens. Well, it is Nigeria for you. And I think I have a quick question. What do you have to say about Nigerian banning Twitter, Nigerian government to be precise, banning Twitter's operation in Nigeria? Can you leave a word or two in the comment section below? Well, this will mark the end of today's video. If there is anything you like about Mr. Macaroni, kindly leave it in the comment section below for us to review. Well, see you again in another exciting video. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe. Peace.